Hey folks, Bridges here. I'm with my second bell IED class today, and we're going to quickly build the, what is that called? The hitch peg? Part number 4. All right, so the way we're going to do is we're going to start with a 2D sketch as always. I'm going to sketch on the front plane, and we're going to just draw this cross section, this quarter section that we've seen on our drawing here. I'm going to start by making a line from the origin, just going vertically. Okay, just up some distance, really just arbitrary distance, just making a long line. Now I pressed escape on my keyboard about 2 or 3 times to get out of that line tool. Now I'm going to click once on that line, and I'm going to change just this one line out here to the right. I'm going to change that to a center line. And the reason I'm changing it to a center line is because this is going to be our axis of revolution. And we're going to revolve the rest of the part around. Okay, cool. So now I click off of that line, so I'm back into no tools selected. You can also press escape a few times. And now let's go ahead and draw the rest of that part. So starting with the line tool once again, we're back on the regular line mode. You can see that there's no center line selected. We'll click once at the origin, we'll come out some amount, and we'll come up some distance, and then we'll come out some distance and stop. Let's stop right there. By clicking the check or pressing escape. And let's apply the dimensions that we know. So the first dimension that we know is an X dimension. That's a diameter of the bottom part of the peg. And that is, if we click this bottom line right here, I'm saying don't do that. If we click this bottom part, it's going to give us a linear dimension for that line length. We don't really want that. Instead, let's use our dimension tool and say the distance from the center line to the outside of the peg. And now it says, hey, since that's a center line and you're dimensioning off of that, it wants to be a diameter. And we're going to say yes, it does. So that distance should be, what did you say that was? 0.25. Okay, so that's pretty small. That means we can zoom in and get this thing to the right size. I can bring down this line a little bit here. Oops, that's a dimension. We don't want to do that yet. Actually, I guess we do want to do that. So let's dimension now from the bottom. This is a Y dimension. So from this bottom corner up to this line up here, and we'll bring it out to the side, and we're going to say this is a distance of, I like to place that dimension right in the middle, and that dimension is going to be a dimension of 0.5. 0.5. And that's going to shrink this down quite a bit for us. There we go. So now once again we can zoom in and make this an appropriate size on our screen. Okay, so back to another dimension. Sorry, another diameter dimension. We know that the distance from this center point out to this overhang. Okay, we can come up to the top with this one. We know that this diameter, the peg has an overall diameter of, looking at our blueprints, it says it's a diameter of 0.4. So I just type in a 0.4 there and hit enter. All right. This next part always gives me a bit of trouble. So let's try it and see if it works for us. We are looking for an arc. So we're going to choose the arc tool. We're going to choose center point arc. Okay. We know that the center of our arc does lie on this axis of revolution. So let's just choose a point on this center line somewhat below the horizontal line. So let's choose somewhere just right around in here. Okay. And then the starting point of our arc is going to be right there at that shoulder of the bolt of the peg. And then we're just going to move it up and around until it gets to that center line again. Okay, I can do that again for you. I'll do that again for you. There are probably other ways to do it. That's okay. I'm going to choose arc. I'm going to choose a center point arc. I'm going to place the center point, which is what it's asking for. If I stay still, it says place the center point. I'm going to place it on the center line, just a bit below where that shoulder of the peg is. So I'm going to just put it right there. Now it says place the start point of the arc. So I'm going to put that on the corner here. Then I'm going to move my mouse up until we get onto that axis of revolution once again. So that, I'm going to press escape. Now you can see that it's still blue. That means we have not applied at least one dimension to it. We have not fully constrained this sketch. Looking at our blueprints, we can see that the one thing that we haven't put on there yet is that SR, which is spherical radius of 0.208. So this is where we do that. We're going to go into the dimension tool, and we're going to click on that arc, and we're going to bring our leader line out into the right, and we're going to click and place that, and we're going to call it 0.208. Enter. And there, it locks it in. We were pretty close to begin with, weren't we? Folks, when you see your part is fully white, or if you have a different background, if it's all the same color and there are no blue lines on it, that means it's fully constrained. And you can click and drag and try to move parts, but there's nothing that's going to go anywhere. That means everything has its assigned place in space. And that's what we want. So once you've got these, looks like 1, 2 diameter dimensions. We've got 1 linear dimension. We've got 1 radius dimension. Ooh, we are missing one, but it should automatically calculate for us. So let's go the distance from the bottom of the bolt to the uppermost point. So that's an overall vertical dimension, and it should come to, it says 0.6509. And this says it's a driven dimension, which is, it means that the computer says, I already know this distance. And actually, that is close to what it says on our blueprint sheet. Our blueprint says 0.65, this says 0.6509, which is just 9 ten-thousandths of an inch bigger. And according to our, what are those called? Tolerances in the beginning, that's going to be okay. We'll talk more about that in another video. At this point, we're going to finish our sketch. We're going to revolve it. It wants us to choose the axis of revolution, which is that vertical center line, and we'll say, yes, we're going to do it 360 degrees, and we're going to say okay. And that's the part, folks.